Welcome to the ARCS2020 Ambulatory Blood Pressure Education video. At this point, we'll assume that you are able to load the ARCS software onto your PC, and you are looking at the same screen that we are right now, with the ARCS2020 in the center with the blue background, and the icons in the upper left. The icons in the upper left is what we will review now, and this is on the General tab. To get started, in this ambulatory blood pressure session, we'll look at the About. In the About icon, it tells you what version of software you have, as shown here. And this indicates this is ARCS2020. There's also a module list. At some point in time, you may need to know what's in here. It indicates what licenses you have or what software capabilities are enabled on your PC utilizing this software. Next, we'll take a look at the ARCS system icon. The system icon allows you to set up the software for your specific use. To begin with, in the system settings, there are 5 tabs as shown across the top here. Number 1, with the facility tab, you can put the name of your facility in here, the name of your IDTF or the physician for which you're doing the data processing, if it is for a private cardiologist, for example. And you can put other facilities in here simply by clicking on the facilities and adding each one as you would like. You can also put physicians, technicians, names in all these other selections on the left side just by same thing, simply adding them. And you'll see later that there are some screens within the software that have pull-down menus that then you can select that facility or that technician for various purposes. The second tab is for analysis. We're going to pay attention just to the ambulatory blood pressure, which is in the middle. If you click on that, you can set up the parameters for which you want them to be established for systole, diastole, etc., as shown on this. And you can review the user's guide for further information. If you want to go back to a default setting, just simply click on the default and it will reset it back to what you see right now. At the top, you'll notice there's a day and night. This is a change that you could make if you wish to establish the start of day or the start of night at a different time. The display has to do mostly with your choices of whether you want to use English measurements or metric measurements and other types of parameters throughout the software. Again, consult the user manual if you want to change any of these for additional guidelines on what they actually change. Print, same sort of thing, paper size, font size, things like that you can set for your convenience the way you want them to be. Others has to do with preset and receive, and we'll review that in a few minutes. Next, let's look at the Quick Access Toolbar. Now, this Quick Access Toolbar is used for both ECG, Holter analysis data, and ambulatory blood pressure. So if you're just doing ambulatory blood pressure, you would only pay attention to those items that you would like to have appear on the Quick Access Toolbar that will appear in the upper left where we have the General tab now. When you actually select a patient and begin an ECG study or an ambulatory blood pressure study, these are the functions or icons that will present themselves. In our case, since we're doing ambulatory blood pressure, you'll see a couple of them shown here: statistics plot, ambulatory blood pressure variability. Those are the ones that I've selected, and you'll see them in a few minutes. Next, let's take a look at preset. Preset allows you to preset the device, the ambulatory blood pressure monitor, with the patient's name, ID number. All the information can be filled in based on the blocks that you see here. You can also include the physician's name at the bottom. Normally, the software will recognize the device, and up here at the top, the device model will appear so that you can begin doing the preset. There are some options as to how it's set up. Some of our devices use an IR port or a Bluetooth, but most of them use an SD card or a USB cable. And AutoScan generally works for ABP, so you don't need to change that. And for ABP, it will always be BIOX. For receive, same thing. When you plug in the SD card or the device, the software will recognize it, shown here in this space, and you can then, the start button will be grayed, and you can go ahead and download the data. Some of these other things like browse and options, that's mostly for ECG, so we won't review those at this point. That concludes this section. In the next short video, we will go over patient and the list for blood pressure.